$2,000 fourth stimulus check update, specifically focused on Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, RRB, low income, and no income. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now this video is specifically dedicated to all the fixed income beneficiaries that I just mentioned a few seconds ago. Now, I do know that the vast majority of you right here in this community are fixed income beneficiaries that receive some of the benefits I mentioned earlier. Therefore, I continue to see all your comments down below in the comments section on all the other videos here on the channel asking, will there be a $2,000 fourth stimulus check? Will there be a fourth stimulus check? Will we be included on a fourth stimulus check? And when will we get it? How much will it be? And how soon can we actually get it? I want to answer all those questions for you right here in the video. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it and discuss all the details right now. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video. As I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm watching all this new information hitting the wire every single day, doing all the necessary research and breaking it all down into these short videos, which I deliver a couple times throughout the day so you can stay updated with what is actually going on as things are changing very, very fast. We're getting new announcements out of the administration, the president, lawmakers, Congress, and everything that Congress is currently working on, including the bills and packages, proposals and amendments, reform to very important fixed income benefits, as well as anything else in regards to money, checks, ongoing monthly checks, stimulus checks, programs, raises to benefits, anything else along these lines. There's a lot of different things that are hitting the wire each and every day. I'm finding all that information and bringing it to you in these videos, as well as keeping you updated with all the other updates that are happening each and every day, including all the other economic factors and everything else happening right now. It's a very, very busy time, and I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be. So please make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any videos going forward, and I'll continue to bring these updates, and of course, watch anything out there right now that you can possibly get your hands on, as I completely understand money is very tight right now for the vast majority of people, especially the fixed income beneficiaries and everybody that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video. Anyway, thanks again, subscribe down below, and let's jump into it and talk about what's going on in regards to a $2,000 check. Now, here's the thing. I do see comments literally every single day from those of you right here in the community, and that's okay. I appreciate all the comments and the questions down below. In fact, I get thousands and thousands of comments every single day. I do my best to read as many as I possibly can, and of course, to respond as many as possible. And then, of course, when I do see the same questions coming up time and time again, I do like to make dedicated videos just like this one to answer those questions for you, let you know where we currently stand, and of course, follow through with my dedication to you, which is to answer your questions and to be here for you in any way that I possibly can be. All right, so before we get any further into this, let me make it very clear right away so we're all on the same page. As of right now, a $2,000 fourth stimulus check has not been approved, okay? So I just want to say that right from the very start so that we're all right here understanding what's actually going on. A fourth stimulus check has not been approved. Even some of the other people here are talking about, checks have been approved and delivery dates and, oh, it's going to be arriving this date and checks have been mailed and all kinds of stuff like that. No, it's not a fourth stimulus check. I can tell you that much, okay? I'm watching everything closely, and I'm bringing you that information. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about some different things that I do want to bring to your attention and things that we need to watch very, very closely right now, because things are happening. And as a result of some of this that's going on right now, it could actually translate into a fourth stimulus check. Now, again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I have no clue what Congress is going to do. I have no clue what the administration is going to do, but based on the economic factors, based on history, based on everything that I'm seeing happening right now, the likelihood of another check happening is getting greater and greater almost by the day because things are transpiring very, very quickly right now. All right, so here's a couple things that I want to point out to you. Number one, we need to continue watching the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has been out recently raising interest rates very aggressive recently. And now you might be wondering, how does this translate into a check? We don't care about the Federal Reserve. We don't care about interest rates. How is this going to translate into a stimulus check? Well, here's how it's going to happen. Let me talk you through the details because this is very important to understand. Here's what's happening. Inflation is very high right now. Obviously, we all know that. We've been dealing with it for a couple years now. Very, very high. As a result of this inflation, the Federal Reserve is coming out raising interest rates. Yes, they have the ability to do this. So the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates in an effort to bring down this inflation that's very high right now. Have they been succeeding? Well, again, that's anybody's opinion at this point, but honestly, no, it has not been working so far. So as a result of that, the Federal Reserve needs to continue raising interest rates very aggressively. What happens when they raise interest rates aggressively like they are right now? Well, I can tell you this much. It brings down the economy. It it contracts the economy very severely when they raise interest rates aggressively like what they're doing right now. So here's how all this is coming in and coming full circle here. So here's what's happening. The inflation is very high. The interest rates are being raised from the Federal Reserve to bring down inflation. It's not working. However, here's what it is bringing down. It's bringing down the economy, because here's why. When the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, what that simply means is the cost to borrow money is getting more and more expensive. For example, individuals like you and me, if we want to go out and borrow money, as in a personal loan, a line of credit, a home equity line of credit, a home equity loan, if we want to get an auto loan, if we want to get student loans, if we want to get a mortgage, anything like this, any type of debt product. Or, for example, if we want to get a credit card and float a balance on a credit card, guess what? It's all getting more and more and more expensive. Interest rates are going up. Therefore, we're paying more interest on the debt that we have. Well, as a result of that, this means that less and less people, consumers, you and me, going out borrowing money, floating balances on credit cards, things like that, because it's getting more and more expensive. Therefore, as we're paying more and more money for this debt, why would we borrow money, right? We don't want to. In any situation that we can, we want to avoid borrowing money because it's costing us so much more these days. It's costing us more than double what it was just a few months ago at the beginning of the year. So it's very expensive right now to borrow money. Therefore, people like us, consumers and businesses, are not borrowing money at the rates that we once were, say 9 or 10 or 11 months ago at the beginning of the year. So as a result of that, the economy starts to contract because less people are borrowing money. Therefore, if we're borrowing less money, that means we're also not spending money. Therefore, if we're not spending money, we're not stimulating the economy. The economy starts to contract. Businesses are not bringing in as much revenue. Therefore, they start laying off employees. Employees start collecting unemployment. The unemployment rate starts to rise. Less people spending money because these people that are unemployed are probably not spending much money because they're receiving unemployment benefits, which is a fraction of what they're receiving at their job. Again, the vicious cycle goes round and round and round, like a merry-go-round, right? If you stay on it long enough, you're going to be so dizzy you don't even know what's going on anymore, right? So at least that's my case. I do not like those things. I get dizzy really, really easily, and honestly, it's just not a fun experience for me. But that's the situation that's going on. It's this big old vicious cycle. So as all this is happening, here's what we need to watch. As the Federal Reserve is causing havoc on the economy right now, we need to watch the unemployment rate. We need to watch jobs. Jobs are very important in the eyes of Congress. In the eyes of the government, jobs are very, very important. Why? Because they produce tax revenues. That's how the government gets their money, is by taxing the people when they work. When you go out and earn $1,000, they take about $250 of it. They take about 25% of it in the form of tax revenues. Well, guess what? They want jobs because jobs are producing tax revenues. That's how they get their income, right? So it's very important for them to continue to get jobs. If we do not have jobs producing, and if we do not have jobs expanding, if we have jobs contracting as a result of a contracting economy, guess what? That means less tax revenues. It means not a good situation playing out, right? So here's what happens. Long story short, in the situation where the economy is contracting, when we continue to see the economy contracting, when we fall into a recession, which is, depends on who you ask, we're pretty much in a recession right now. And again, depends on who you ask. Technically, yes, we're in a recession. But again, some of the other economic factors may say, oh, we're not in a recession yet, but we're getting very close. Either way, we're pretty much in a recession, okay? Either whether we say we are or we're not, we're basically on the line. So let's just call it whatever it is. Okay, so as we fall into a recession, as the economy contracts very severely, more jobs are being, eliminated. Therefore, the unemployment rate rises. What happens then? Well, the economy contracts severely. Well, what happens in a recession? Well, they look at the situation and they say, the economy has contracted so much right now, we need to bring it back. How can we do that? Well, they turn to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve says, hey, don't worry, I got your back. I got a printing press. I'm going to print up a bunch of money right now. They could print up hundreds of billions. They could print up trillions of dollars. And then what do they do with that freshly printed money? They plow it out into the economy. Why? Because this is what brings the economy back. So they bring all this money into the economy, this fresh money into the economy. And guess what? By golly gee, the economy comes back. Gee, what a surprise, right? So how do they do this? Well, what they do is they produce stimulus checks and they send them out to the people, just like we saw back in early 2000, 2001 with the dot-com bubble, when we saw in 2008 and 2009 with the housing situation, and in early 2020 with the COVID situation. Those three recessions all produced stimulus checks. The Federal Reserve printed money that was appropriated by Congress, and again, they basically just plowed it out to the people and said, hey, everybody, here's a check. Go spend it because we need to bring back the economy, but we're going to call it a stimulus check and we're going to act like we are heroes now because we're sending out some money to you. And the fact of the matter is, what they really are doing is they're sending out money to us, instructing us to spend it on the necessities or whatever we want to do. We do not save it. That's not what they want from us. In fact, that was a whole big issue back in 2020 and 2021. When we were getting stimulus checks, some people were saving it and everybody was having a cow about it because they were saying, this is not supposed to be saved. You should not be saving this check. You should be spending this money. Well, again, why do they want us to spend it? Because it brings back the economy. It stimulates the economy. That's why it's called a stimulus check, because it's stimulating the economy. It's not stimulating us or our bank accounts or our livelihoods. It's stimulating the economy. It's doing what they want, right? So that's why all this is very important to watch very closely. So that's what it's all coming down to. Now, again, this is a very slow situation. Again, a lot of these types of situations like this happen very slowly. Why? Because we're dealing with a $20 trillion economy. Well, it takes a long time to turn this thing around. It takes a long time to slow it down, right? It's like a big old, cruise ship out on the ocean. It's cruising along. It takes a long time to slow that thing down. It's cruising fast. Or it's like a train on a tracks, cruising down at 60 miles an hour, right? It takes a long time to slow that thing down. But eventually when it gets slowed down, and then it takes a long time to reverse and go back the opposite direction in, again, 60 miles per hour, right? So it's the same thing with the economy. But once it happens, look out, because then all of a sudden things happen very, very fast. So in the event that we fall into another deep recession like what we saw in 2020, what we saw in 2008, what we saw in 2001, again, in the event that that happens, which a lot of people are anticipating, it's coming, and it's coming fast. When that happens, we got to watch closely, because this is when the Federal Reserve will likely print up a bunch of money yet again, like they've done every single time. And again, it may produce the infamous stimulus check, just like what we've seen in 2020, late 2020, and early 2021. Anyway, hope this answers the question, and again, exactly what I'm looking at right now. I'm also watching a variety of other factors right now, but these are the big ones that I want to point out to you, because these are all going to predicate the amount of the next stimulus check, if there's going to be another one, and how soon we're going to get it, as well as who is going to be getting it. Which, by the way, to answer the question, which I think I answered this earlier, but again, let me say it one more time. In the event of another stimulus check, a fourth stimulus check, yes, by all means, fixed income beneficiaries will be included. There's no reason that you wouldn't be. You were included for the first three, the 1,200, the 600, and the 1,400. There's no reason that you wouldn't be included for another one. So, hope that kind of answers the question, lets you know where we currently stand, what we need to watch right now, and why this situation is so incredibly important that we're watching play out right before our eyes. Anyway, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, have a good one. Thanks again. Hope this helps you, and